Hey, welcome back, guys.
Welcome back to our show. We are glad to have you. We've made it
Yes.
through another week.
Yes, we have.
All right. So, as we have said, who are we? We are Jason and Tina Marie, life and relationship coaches, mentors, and motivational speakers. We also we speak on self-love, self-development, and transformation, creators of legendary relationship and our truly life-changing relationship course, Elevate Your Marriage.
We are the host of Love and Beyond the I Do podcast, Principal Works Gear and Accessories. But last but not least, we are authors of the 8 Simple Ways to Awaken the Love and Intimacy in Your Relationship, soon to be released.
All right.
The Chase.
The Chase.
Book.
The Chase.
Yes.
So you guys stay tuned for our book called The Chase. All right?
Mm-hmm. We hope you are tuned in today to be ready to manifest your elevation.
All right.
In your life and your relationship. This is so important, right? Manifest your elevation.
Right. All right. So before we get into tonight's topic, let's go ahead and start with this. All right. We'll be right back. Welcome.
You're in a good mood, aren't you?
Yes. Remember, you can find us on Fridays live where we talk love, relationships, self-development, and of course, our specialty, marriage. Right? You can find our podcast episodes.
Wherever you get your podcast delivered. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, Google, you name it, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get podcasts, we are there.
Okay, and where can they find our Friday Night Lives, the previous ones?
Oh, the previous ones?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can look on Legendary Relationship on YouTube.
All right.
Or you can go to our website and then go to legendaryrelationship.com/info and then get a whole list of all of our events, everything that we're doing.
Okay, so where can they find our free ebook?
Our free ebook on our website, baby.
Which is?
legendaryrelationship.com.
Yep. legendaryrelationship.com. Okay. Or you can book a discovery call with us for our 6-week course, and you can find all of our information as Jason stated. So if you want to find
legendaryrelationship.com.
Finish it. / Oh,
no, not / just legendaryrelationship.com.
No, we're talking about all the info where they can find everything, what you just said.
.com/info.
Or you can scan the QR code. Can we bring our QR code up for the people, Jay?
Yeah, we possibly
All right. So
can.
you want to see our podcast, you want to see get our free ebook, you want to get on our subscribe or get on our email list, or if you want to know about the sex toys or previous conversations, anything that you need, you can find it. Either scan our QR code or you can go to legendaryrelationship.com
/info. All right, you got that, baby.
All right, so let's get into tonight's topic. Can you help me out, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we know that as we get a little older, we're going to make sure that we get the tools that we need to help us to make sure we stay on task, all right? So we want to thank each and every one of our viewers who are out there viewing. We want to say thank you for tuning in with us. We love you. If you would like to be recognized, please make sure that you drop us a comment or just click on the like. For those of you who may not want to be recognized, we say thank you for joining us anyway. Yes. So we thank you. And even though you're not recognized, we know that we're all here for the same purpose, to elevate our lives and our relationships. All right. So make sure if you want to be recognized, you drop us a comment, or you hit the like button, hit the love button. But once we're finished with this, we ask you to make sure that you are subscribed to our station. Make sure that you like and share with other people so that this message can be reached. All right. So as we said before, each week we are building on a lesson. Now, last week we told you that the workshop, the webinar for the vision board, right, was going to be on Tuesday. We have changed it due to people asking. So it is now going to be on Saturday, February the 25th at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. So that's Chicago's time, right? Some people say, I don't really understand Central Standard Time. So it's Saturday, February the 25th at 1 o'clock Chicago time. So if you know what time it is, Chicago, fix everything out. Central Standard Time. So you can join us and others on our webinar, The Power of Visioning.
Now, the webinar is free, but you do have to register.
Yes.
Right? So we just need you to register. And then afterwards, I mean, you can just go right in. If you register beforehand, where do they register? Oh, I'm glad you guys asked. Where do you register? You register at legendaryrelationship.com/vision. Okay. And I'm going to put that up on the screen for you so you can, where's you going?
All right.
Okay, there you go. So you register at legendaryrelationship.com/vision. It's Saturday, February 25th, 2023 at 1 p.m. So there is a registration. We just need you to register so we'll know who we will have in attendance.
Exactly.
That'll just help us out with logistics a little bit. So let's take care of that.
So the lessons each Friday will help you to prepare mentally and physically for this workshop in creating this vision board with the clear, accurate goals for yourself, right? If you do the work beforehand on these Fridays and all of the Monday through I should say Saturday through Thursday when you're not with us, if you're continually doing this work, when we come together that Saturday, it will take out all the guesswork, eliminate any confusion. The whole point of doing this is to have clarity before we go into visioning. All right?
Yeah, we're not just gonna throw some things up on the board, so we're gonna get some real clarity.
Absolutely. So it makes no sense to do something if you're not clear about what it is you want to manifest. That's just craziness. That's why we're getting more crazy of what we already have. Yeah. So the whole purpose is to take you through the steps to make sure that you are clear, concise, you're accurate, you know what you want before you start the visioning process. So let's bring up our points. So can you, so like I said, I'm not even going to try to remember all the things. Can you bring that over here, Jay, so I can read that? Okay. Yep. So I'm not even going to try to remember all the things that I'm supposed to do. We're going to read off this board like most people do, right?
There you go.
So I was looking, I was like, we're going to do the same thing we do in our workshops and our other things. Since me trying to go off my head. All right. So,
I just want to say, hey,
all right. So you want to welcome somebody?
Yeah,
all
I just want to say, hey, happy Friday. Hey, happy Friday. Glory. Thank you. I think we got some rest.
No, I
appreciate that. You know what? You always look better in the studio, right? It's different when you're outside of the studio. Right. Yeah, appreciate that.
He may have gotten some rest, but thank you. And I just want to say thank you for joining us, Dennis. I know that you work late hours and long hours and night shift. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in and staying up with us. I want and excited to interact tonight. Yes, he wanted to interact. All right.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
honestly, I just want to listen and take in the message tonight. That is fine. Absolutely.
However the spirit moves you, however you want to interact, that's fine. This is a conversation. This is about us growing and moving and becoming a better version of ourselves. So, yeah, it's going to be some interaction. This is what really makes this work, Dennis.
Dennis, we want to be able to be a platform for you to speak. Okay? See, sometimes we value you speaking and talking and your opinion because sometimes we just need to be heard. Sometimes we just need to get some things out and to cleanse ourselves of the things that are bothering us. So it's okay. If you want to make comments, you can. If you don't, you don't have to, but we love them either way. Yep. Thank you so much.
Yep. We just appreciate you being here.
Yes. So tonight's topic, we are talking about... All right. So do you guys remember, because we're getting ready to get into it, tonight's discussion on how to manifest your own elevation. Basically, is how to get from where you are to where you want to be in your life and in your relationships, because our strength is relationships. All right. So we're going to start with when we talk about manifest your elevation. We can't tell you to manifest unless you know what the word manifestation means.
Right. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning. As Tina and I was discussing, to the foundation, right? Yes. So we're going to make sure that...
As Jason says, the foundation.
We want to make sure you understand what's going on. Then we can build up off of that. We're not going to assume anything, right? Yep. So we're not insulting anyone's intelligence. We just want to go down to the...
we want to make sure that as we're rebuilding, we're building on concrete. All right, we're building on a firm foundation. So we're going to start with the definition of manifestation. So if we're going to manifest something, we have to make sure that we understand what it is we're doing. All right, Jason, go ahead and read
Manifestation is the materialization of a truth idea, the coming forth into
visibility
of what of that which is been affirmed, the appearance of an idea.
All right, so we get that. So the manifestation is the materialization, which means it is materializing in your life. You are bringing it forth.
Yes.
To manifest means to bring something forth, right? So we are bringing forth all of the desires of our hearts into manifestation form. We're bringing them to be right here in this physical plane with us, right? We don't want them, they may accidentally get to somebody else's door, so we want to make sure they knock on our doors, all right? So as we manifest our elevation, what do we mean by elevation, right? What does it mean to elevate?
Elevate is to lift up or to make higher, which makes some sense.
Absolutely.
To raise in rank or status. I like that.
All right.
To improve morally, intellectually, or culturally. To raise the spirits of. That's my favorite of elevate. Raise the spirits of. Also, I like to improve morally, intellectually, and culturally. I think that's what I think about when I think about elevating myself. I wanted to, and for you guys as well, morally, intellectually, and culturally, right? And then also when people around you, you want to be able to lift the spirits of them as well.
And manifest means different things to different people. So whatever resonates with you. Elevation means different things for different people, right? Elevation for some people may mean monetary, right? They may want to elevate in money. Elevation to some other people may be they just don't want to feel depressed every day.
Right.
Elevation for someone else, maybe they want their relationship to be more than just a dull drum marriage.
Right.
So elevation, understand that it means to take from where you are, to bring it up better, to make something better, to rise up, to get the spirit of, so that we can enjoy what it is that we have. And that's the whole purpose of us trying to manifest, right, and elevate in our lives and our relationships, because as we have stated before, we're not just talking about the relationship of marriage, because when I can be a better person and I can relate to Jason as a better person, then it helps me to relate to everyone. Like I said before, the young lady in the grocery store, the person who cuts you off in traffic. You can elevate to a status where the things around you no longer affect you like they used to. And that's the whole purpose of elevation, not staying the same.
That's when you're raising up, right?
Right.
When things affect you the way they used to.
All right. So now that we got those definitions, let's go up a little bit more. So what we have to understand is that everything that we manifest in our lives are backed by our beliefs.
Ooh.
Right? So everything we believe or everything we have believed up until this point has created the world in which we have, right? It has created our relationship. It has created the type of relationship we have with ourselves, with our mate, with our girlfriend, our boyfriend, our husband, our wives. So all of that is backed by the beliefs that we have. And our beliefs are usually constructed of what the experiences that we have experienced, right? So the conditions that we have been conditioned to. So what is the definition of belief, Jason?
The definition of
So we're going to make sure that you get a clear, concise understanding of what it is we're trying to do for 2023. Because if you guys remember at the beginning of this, I asked you, are you ready to elevate? And so if you are ready to elevate, which means we're ready to change our lives, we're ready to do something different. We want to experience something more grateful or more gratitude, right?
Sure.
We want something greater than what we are experiencing now.
And we're not just talking, right? We're gonna do a lot of the work, but we're not just saying things and we just hope that it happen, right? You just like, oh, I want this to happen, and then you never do any work to make it happen. No, we're actually going to put together some work to actually make this happen, because I want to see the better you by the end of the year.
I want to see the better you by the end of this week. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, it's going to be better than where it was, but I want to see that. I want to be.
It take a long time. It don't take a long time.
Okay. I don't want them to think that it's going to happen tomorrow either.
It can.
I didn't say it couldn't. I just said I don't want them to get
Right. So the point is, we don't have to. We're not.
We're reading the belief.
Yeah, we're gonna read belief. But I want to say this: for people to understand that it doesn't mean that where you are, there's something wrong with it.
Right.
Okay. where you are is where you are because this is where you have created your reality to be. Right. Now, if you want more, you can have more. And that's the whole purpose of this. If you're continually growing, then you're living. If you're stagnant, then you're not living. You're just existing. Right. And that's the whole point of this. No one wants to just exist. If you see other people enjoying the bountiful life, you want to be able to enjoy it too, whether that's in relationships, whether that's with yourself, whether that's in having more money, having more cars, whatever it is. So we're not saying that there's anything wrong with where you are. What we're saying is that if you're ready to elevate because you have now said, okay, I've gotten this and I want to move up forward, then that's what we're talking about, elevation.
Right. So belief, a state or habit of mind in which trust and confidence is placed in someone or some person or thing. Yeah.
So let's go with the habit of mind,
the
right?
habit of mind.
All right. So we often say that we believe. If I ask someone, what do you believe? Mm-hmm. They say, I believe this, I believe that. And most of the time, I
don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to say one thing before we go ahead and move a little bit further. Mm-hmm. I just want to give ourselves grace, right? We are where we are in our life and our relationships, mainly our lives, based on our beliefs and our past environments and the things that we were taught and learned and that. So let's give ourselves grace if we're not extremely happy of where we want to be right now. Mm-hmm. But this is the life that we've created so far, right? But we can ready to right the ship. But I just want to say, this is what happens when you really not in charge of your thoughts, your feelings, and things of that nature. So we're going to give ourselves grace. This is where we are. This is a starting point, and we're going to go from here, and we're going to take better control of our lives.
All right. You need to. So, as I was saying, that when I ask someone, what do they believe? Most of the time, people are giving me their beliefs in things that are of the sensory. Mm-hmm. I believe in this. I believe that this. So we have conditioned ourselves to believe that we can only believe in the things that we see that have manifested already, right? We don't realize that the belief can be further than that. And so we ask ourselves, when we talk about belief, that is the backbone, that is the basis of what we get as we move further. Most people want to be able to see it, touch it, hear it, feel it before they can believe in it. And then when they say, I believe in the things that they don't have or they don't see or they haven't experienced, they may believe it in the mind, but they don't believe it in the heart. And this is why we have not elevated from where we are to where we want to be. Oftentimes we start and we say, okay, I'm going to change. I want to change my life. I want to do this. I don't want to have people to be able to push certain buttons and I react a certain way. But what we have to realize is that oftentimes the reason why we have started something and we haven't truly manifested it here in the physical is because we have started it and we speak it and we say it and we believe it in our minds because we know that it can happen, but we don't believe that it can happen for us. We don't truly believe that we can have this type of relationship that we see others having. And again, it's because of our experience. It's because of what we have experienced. It's because we haven't felt it before.
Right.
We haven't seen it before.
Right.
We haven't experienced it before. Mm-hmm. So we think because we haven't, we want it, but our hearts is telling us you want something that you can never have. Right. So until your heart and your mind are in sync, we can never elevate. So like we said before, we're trying to really get you to understand that in order to elevate, the mind, the heart, the body, the emotions all have to be
in sync.
They have to be on the same accord.
Yep.
Right?
Because you say one thing, but you feel deep down inside that it's not really for you, and you're never going to get it because belief and everything else comes from what you feel. And if you don't really feel that it's for you, it's not going to manifest in your life.
So when we talk about the brain, how does the brain play a part in what we manifest? All right. So again, we're like we said, we're taking it down to the basics. So we're just going to give you a brief description from John Hopkins of what they defined as the brain. Right?
Yep. You want to read it? The brain is a complex organ that controls thought, memory, emotion, touch, motor skills, vision, breathing, temperature, anger,
Hungry.
Hunger. Yeah, hunger, and every process that regulates our body.
Okay, so before we go off of this, I want you guys to see this right here where it says thought, memory, emotion, touch, motor skills. But the biggest thing right here is vision. Our brain controls the vision, right? It controls the thought, the vision, the emotion.
Yep.
So if we define the brain, we are defining exactly what it is we need to do in our lives. All right. So
we need to elevate our brain. That's what it sounds like.
So what we have to understand is that the brain is a type of organ that it has been conditioned by what we do. So it creates we have created these electrical networks in our brain to do a certain thing when something happens, right? So what happens is that if someone angers you, the emotion attached to it, the reaction attached to it now presents itself so that whenever it happens again, you're going to react the same way. The brain is influenced so that it remembers things that have happened, whether good, bad, or indifferent, and then it becomes a habit. So we talked about the habit, right? We talked about our beliefs. Our beliefs are our habits. So if we have a habit of reacting to certain situations and we don't change it, then we're going to continue to get the same type of results, the same type of feelings, the same type of emotions. And so if we want things to change, we have to change the ending, right? We have to change what we have programmed our brain into believing should be the outcome, right? He does this, she says that, I react this way, and this is always the outcome, all the time. Girl meets boy, they fall in love, then 10 years later, they argue, they get divorced, right? We have to change how we look at, how we view, and how we want our life to play out. Do we have some other things?
Yeah, I just want to bring up this.
I said I'm ready, but I didn't think I have changed at all. That's okay.
That's all right.
But my partner said they see elevation in me. Oh,
All
my
right.
God.
There you go. There you go. That's
I
what
guess
I'm
I'm too hard on myself because I want instant improvement in myself. And that's the thing, Dennis. Absolutely.
And that's the thing. We look for instant gratification, but we don't see it all the time.
But the thing is,
It's happening.
we don't know what to look for.
Exactly.
Dennis, if you've never been that change, how do you know what that change is going to look like?
Right.
You've only been conditioned to who you are. So you only see yourself in a certain way. But as you continue to think about you in a different way, as Jason said last time we were on, when you change, everything around you change. Your relationship with your people at your job, the relationship you have with your relationship with your cat, whomever. You may not see it, but it's happening. But the reason why you don't see it is because you're looking at the old Dennis, and now you have to train the brain to see the new Dennis. And that was a very good point.
You have to walk into yourself. And we're going to get into that, and that goes along with your mind, your feeling, and all of this other stuff, and what you actually see, your environment. It has a lot to go along with that.
All right, so Dennis made one more comment, and then we have some likes. I didn't deactivate Facebook, but I have posted on Facebook, but I haven't posted on Facebook in over a week.
Lord, it is.
Well, Dennis, this is not the conversation, but what does Facebook have to do with you deactivating it? See, the point is, as you said before, use Facebook as a tool, not as a crutch. It's all the way we look at something.
Right.
It's all the way we view it.
Right. So if our vision changed or we changed in our conversation, what we post changed.
And then those who don't want to hear what you're posting will stop listening. So you don't. And then what someone posts that you may not want to hear, you will either release yourself from that friendship or you will stop reading their posts. So when we change, everything in our lives change. Nothing really, truly, honestly, nothing can stay the same if we want to elevate. Elevation is about saying, okay, I want to elevate. I am where I am because of what I have created. And if this no longer serves me and I want more, then you have to be willing to let go of the old you, the old beliefs. One thing about elevation is that we must embrace change. We must embrace change. That is the biggest and most important thing that we can do. All right? So we were talking about the brain, just like you're talking about now, right? Right, Dennis? Okay. The brain, when we do things in the brain, we are creating thoughts and feelings and what we don't realize is that we're creating our own reality, right? So if you are thinking the same thoughts that you thought yesterday,
Okay.
and those thoughts are the same thoughts that you thought a week ago, your tomorrow, your day when you go to work or your day when you come home is going to look exactly the same way it did yesterday and last week. And why is that? Because you're thinking the same thoughts. It is known that we think 90 to 95% of our thoughts, they're the same exact thoughts that we always think.
We're thinking 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day.
And 90
And 90% of those
90
are
to
carried
95%.
over to the next day.
so we're not
So
even
you're wondering why you're stuck or your life hasn't moved because you're thinking the same thoughts you thought yesterday and majority of them over here. And you just fill in a little bit each
here and
day.
there, here and there when something
And that's
the
why a
biggest
lot of
thing is that we don't even realize that we're thinking the same thoughts.
Right.
We're going through the motions every single day, and we think the same thought about the same person. We think the same thought about our jobs. We think the same job about our wives or our moms or our relationship or our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we're not even consciously aware that we're thinking this thought. We're just letting them roam free on the streets of our mind, right?
But I want that to land for you for just a second. You have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and you're carrying over in about 90% of those thoughts each and every day. So that is kind of like mind-boggling to me. Like out of 70,000 thoughts, 90% came from yesterday. So my future looks just like my past,
Absolutely.
which is now my present.
And what we don't realize is that most of the thoughts of those 90%, over 50% of those are thoughts that we brought along with us from the age of 15, 16, 20, 21. We haven't even created any new thoughts.
Right.
If we have the same job,
Environment, we just pick that up and that just becomes our tomorrow, our
Absolutely.
yesterday. Yeah.
So the brain is such an amazing organ, as I said, it's a complex organ, right? That it gives us the privilege to be able to either make or create some of the same thoughts or to create a different reality. And that's why we're here. We're creating a different reality. So when people do vision boards and they go right into, okay, let's do a vision board, and they don't give you the ABCs to it, or they're not making sure that you're getting all of the information that you need, they have superficialized it. Okay,
Yes.
right? Just like Christmas, right? They said, right? So it's become superficial, where it's something that you see, but you just don't understand the meaning behind it. Then when you don't get any results, you're wondering why.
Yeah, but I just want to talk about the brain and how powerful that is. Just think about how complex the brain is and how much thought that you use each and every day and how many thoughts you carry to the next. So what are we going to do different
Right.
to clean up our mind and our thoughts so we can have better thoughts, so we can have a better tomorrow, right? Because right now we're dictating our future, right? Our future is living out of our past.
And the beliefs that we have, attached ourselves to have now helped us in creating that reality,
Yeah.
right? So like I said before, we want more, but we really just don't know how to do it.
Right.
Exactly. All right. So let's if this is the biggest thing we can take away, is that you can have whatever the mind conceives if the heart believes you can have it. So most of the time when we're doing vision boards, people, or anything, when you're trying to manifest something, the first thing they tell you is, oh, well, say it 100 times, say it 2,000 times, say it 3,000 times. The thing is that you can say something over and over again, but if you don't believe it, then it makes no sense to say it. So the vision board, most people say, okay, well, I make the vision board so that it can impress on the sensory, right? It impresses on our eyes to say what we want. But eventually that vision board becomes wallpaper. So you're passing by it every single day, but it has no point. Again, we have conditioned ourselves to, when something is new, we see it, we recognize it, and then we fall right back into the same old patterns of what we were doing before. So what we have to understand is that the process of thinking and feeling all come from what we think we want, what we think we can have, and how do we connect it with a feeling, right?
Yes.
So,
So that's
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, and that's the thing, is connecting it with the feeling, right? So I believe I can have it or I can have a wish, but do I actually feel that I deserve it? Do I actually feel that I can manifest that? Or am I just wishing and hoping that one day it may fall in my lap? Or do I actually believe that I can actually have it?
And so that's why most people start you. So most people who start the vision board, if they tell you this, they tell you, if you want to manifest something in your life, start with saying it. Do we have enough time? So they tell you to start with saying it. And the saying it is, let me explain this to you. If you're going to say something, if you want to manifest a better relationship, right? If I want to manifest a better relationship with my mate, and I know that it starts with us being able to communicate, and I'm starting with me, and I'm saying I'm going to communicate better. I'm going to communicate better. I'm not saying it because, see, how do I explain this? People think by saying it that it's going to impress on your subconscious mind and just going to automatically happen, right? The point in saying it is that it can happen. It is true to happen. But the point is that you're saying it to not only wake yourself up to the fact that it can happen, but to make it familiar to you. Because if something is unfamiliar to you, then therefore you don't know what it feels like, right? So you know what it feels like when you and your mate get into an argument. What does it feel like to have good communication? Right? What does it feel like to deactivate that push trigger button when someone says a certain something? What does it feel like to no longer react? So saying it may be the first step, but if they don't give you the rest of the steps to it, then you're saying it and you're saying it and you're saying it and you're wondering why nothing is happening. It's because you're not attaching the whole complete package. You have to say it in the mind. You have to believe it because we have to rewrite our beliefs, right? So we have to embrace the change. And then we have to attach a feeling of what it feels like when we are now doing the things that we want to do, whatever it is that we want to do.
So you mentioned like communication. Right? So you have to attach a feeling
of what it feels like
what
to
it feels like when
communicate
you're
effectively.
communicating effectively with your spouse.
Absolutely.
Or whomever, right? Whomever, just you, how you feel when you go out and you communicate with whomever you need to communicate with.
That's a good point because I did notice in my years of living that oftentimes the way I communicated with my spouse and I was misinterpreted through my tone or my my physical appearance, right? It looked like I was like upset and it sounded like I was upset and I'm still working through that. What I realized is that it wasn't just him. A lot of people misunderstood my communication, even though in my mind, I may have thought I was communicating well, or I was saying things that may have been in a manner that I thought was receptive. Other people didn't see it that way. So I had to embrace the idea that, Tina, you don't know how to communicate very well. And in realizing that, now I can get my point across. I may hurt some feelings, but that was not my intention. So I had to first tell myself, this is something that I need to change. And I need to understand that my way of communicating is not an effective way of communicating. So then I had to find a way, right? I had to believe that it was possible for me to be able to communicate with other people as well as my spouse in a different manner than what I was currently conditioned. Because a lot of my behavior came from my experiences. Being a woman, right? Being raised in a household where my dad wasn't in the household. So it was a household of all women because my dad and my brother wasn't there. So we kind of got picked on. So then I put on this real strong persona of not being taken advantage of. And I became a very aggressive person, right? So because of that, that carried over into my adulthood. So every time I communicated with someone or spoke with someone, to them, it was aggressive, but to me, it was the only thing I knew. And so I had to come to the realization that my way of communicating was not being received very well because it looked like it was aggressive. So,
well, a lot of people going through that either way, right? So it may be aggressive for Tina, right? Or if for someone else, it may be more melancholy, more laid back. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to do anything. I'm just kind of in the background type deal. And people tend to take advantage of you, or you don't like the way how people interact with you when you don't really speak up. So it goes both ways. It all depends on.
But the point is, when I was making is that because of that, it was.
Yep.
It left the ship.
Yep.
But my point in saying it like that was because being able to understand that the communication process with you, right? I had to vision a new way of communicating. Right. I had to learn a new way of communicating. I had to be open to understanding that what I thought and what I felt had to be expressed in a way where it was in sync so that it can be received well.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So
I'm going to put this.
Okay, go ahead with Dennis.
Yep. Since joining this podcast, amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Dennis. We greatly appreciate that. I have been really reaching down inside of myself and looking at my actions and reactions. Good. And that's tough, too, sometimes. I mean, we don't always pay attention to our actions and reactions, so it's good that you're alert, you're paying attention to that. I see things different, but as I said, I thought I haven't changed, but others see something different in me. And that's where it comes, right? We know ourselves so well that it doesn't look like the little incremental changes that we make are making a big difference. But to them, they see something totally different.
I need to just keep being positive and definitely never give up.
Right.
Absolutely.
You on a roll right now. Let's go ahead and continue to move that way. And you'll see as people are starting to pay attention to the new dentist.
Yes. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying they're paying attention to the new dentist. Embrace that. Yes. Hey, this is working. I am onto something, and just continue to be better and better.
But the biggest thing I want to tell you, Dennis, is don't look for other people's accolades to keep improving.
Right.
Right. The whole point of it is whether you see it or not, just keep going in that same direction because it is important. Sometimes we look for validation outside of ourselves, and the true validation is inside, which brings me to the next point, is that most of the times we believe that it is the outer things that when the outer things change, then the inner things change. And really, it's the flip of that. Right. It is the exact opposite. When things on the inside change, then things on the outer change. And that's what we must recognize. And it doesn't. So be careful, because just as people embrace your change or like it, there are going to be those who don't like it because they like the old dentist, just like the old dentist like the old dentist. And sometimes you're going to get a little pushback. The old dentist is going to be like, hey, you punk, what are you doing?
Why are you reacting like that? Right.
Right. So somebody says something that used to be a trigger to you, and now it doesn't affect you the same. And so the old dentist is going to say, Dennis, stand up and fight. And the new dentist is going to say, no, I don't need to. And the old, so we have to understand that we have to embrace the change. The change has to be constant. It doesn't happen one day. It doesn't happen overnight. Just like we have programmed ourselves for 20, 30, 40, some people 50 and 60, 70 years, we have to program ourselves. And in order to do that, our thoughts have to be consistent. We can't think one positive thought and think everything is going to change. These thoughts have to be consistent. We have to understand that the pattern of thought is what creates our reality. So in order to change what we want, in order to elevate, we have to make sure that we are paying attention to every single thought we think. So if we said we're going to manifest our own elevation, the biggest thing we wanted to give you guys today is the thought process, right? The thinking that is attached to the feeling. Because let me give you an example. And Jess, you can jump in anytime. You know your wife likes to talk.
Yeah, I know that. It's one thing I want to say about the change that they're starting to see within themselves. I mean, within Dennis. Dennis, how do you view these interactions that you're having with other people? Are you noticing that you reacting a little bit different? Things aren't triggering you. The conversation is kind of guided in the direction that you would like it to go.
Or maybe just people may have said they see him more calm. They don't.
Right, whatever the calm. Right, but it's something that they see. And like I said, first you work from within. You heal from within, and then that actually comes out. And what they're seeing is the manifestation of what the work is going on the inside. Right. So it just, it just comes out, and then this is what they see. But I was just curious to know, how are these conversations, how are these interactions with that you're in that people are starting to notice.
Okay, we have another comment too from
we-
Dennis. Yeah, right after Dennis,
Okay.
and then Nancy. Yes, that is me. I don't know how to communicate outside of my upbringing. Yes,
Yeah,
my way is
gonna
different
repair all
than
that.
others.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
We're gonna repair all that. Yep. It's not your fault.
But another thing.
We got one more.
Okay. Then it said, yes, Tina, Chicago strong, but other mistakes. It's a thing about other mistakes that as aggressive or abusive and violent. Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
others mistake that as aggressive, abusive, or violent. Right. Absolutely. And I mean, I've been told lots of times that I speak aggressively, and I'm thinking,
it's just strong, baby. That's all. It's just strong.
And right. People, you know what? People would view, and I'm so glad that we didn't take what people thought from the outside to really define our relationship, because people did see me that way. People saw me as a very strong, outspoken person, but and maybe my tone may have been taken a different way to outside view, but by Jason knowing me, he knew how to communicate with me. He knew my intentions. He knew what I was trying to say. So therefore, maybe the way someone else saw it, it was aggressive, but to him and I, it wasn't.
It was a level of understanding, for sure.
And then Nancy Smith, hey, Nancy says, Nancy. Even if no one notices at first, eventually your new will shine through if you don't give up. Exactly.
Right, I said, Dennis, let your new shine through.
So one of the things that I had to do, like I said, I had to recognize it. And we all have to recognize this. And like I said, we have to embrace change. So, Jason, your point in that was that you have to change what?
Your mind. You have to change. You have to change your mind.
When we were prepared for that, Jason was like, everything has to change.
Yeah, everything. So right. So you have to change everything. So this is, and I said that we gave ourselves grace about where we are in our life right now. So what I said was, this is where we are based on all of our thinking, feeling, emotions, all that. So we need to do a complete 360 and become a totally different person if we want to have a totally different outlook. Right? If you bring those thoughts and those feelings from yesterday over here, you're going to have some of those same experiences. And that's what we don't like. That's what we're trying to change.
Yes.
So we need to say, if this is a high level, thought or process that I really need to be thinking, moving into the new person I'm trying to become, and some of these thoughts we can fall by the wayside. Some of it is learned behavior, like you said, childhood, environment, things that we raise with our loved ones. All of those things play a part. We now have to take control of these thoughts.
We've learned, and I don't want to, but we've learned how to communicate with our mate, right? With our girlfriend, our boyfriend, with the people that we work with. We've learned to communicate the way we were brought up.
Of course.
The way we saw it, the way we experienced it, the way we learned. No one sat down in grammar school, elementary school, and said, Tina, this is the way you communicate. I had to learn how to communicate with the world through all of my experiences. Right. And some of my experiences growing up were not very good, because for some reason, people just like to pick on me for no reason, which made me have to be stronger. It made me have to create a more aggressive exterior. And so I learned that early on. So as I progressed and got into the business world, I had to redefine how I interacted with people.
Right.
But that wasn't something that I did. And so I had to change. And the biggest thing is that change, if we have to continue to change. So getting to this episode right here, understanding that in order to manifest right into our elevation, that we have to start with the thought process. And as we go more, we're going to explain to you how the thought and our consciousness affects our world. But right now, if we want you, as you said, Dennis, people can see the change because you've made the mental equivalent. You've made the decision to change, which means that you're no longer going to be doing the things you used to do. But we are creatures of habit.
Right.
So in order for change to be change, and in order for change to stick, we have to watch the thoughts that we think. And that's what I was giving the example of when something upsets us, right? When we think of something in our mind that upsets us, our heart begins to race, right? Or if we believe something is going to happen,
right.
Like I've had those thoughts before, right? I'm thinking of my daughter, she's out, she hasn't called. A thought pops in my head, then my heart starts to race, right? It's now my mind and my heart in sync, believing, now back to the belief that something has happened. So this is where we have to be conscious of the thoughts we're thinking, right? And so again, when we go back to thinking something that we want, we think something that we want. I want a relationship without strife, stress, arguing, infidelity. I want a loving relationship. But then you're thinking about all the relationships that you've had, all of the encounters that you've had, all of the ones you've seen with your friends, your parents, in your household, in your neighborhood. You're looking at all the relationships that you have been a part of, whether directly or indirectly. So your heart is thinking one thing, but your mind is wanting something else. And that's why we're not creating elevation. That's why we're not moving up the ladder. That's why we're not creating the reality that we want. So we have to learn how to get our thoughts, our minds, our emotions, and our feelings all in sync, because the brain does not know what's real. If that's the beauty of it. We can create the same reality that we have today, or we can create a new reality tomorrow. But our body, our mind, our emotions, our feelings towards it have to believe it. And so that's what we talk about. What does it feel like? What does it look like to be in a harmonious relationship? We want things, but we don't dig deep enough to realize what it takes. What does it look like? What does it feel like to be in that environment? So what Jason and I want you to do this week is we want you to watch, because we have to reprogram our mind. We have to reprogram the way we think. So every thought you think should be intentional. If you think, so I want everybody to pay attention to their 70,000, 80,000 thoughts, right? Because when we don't pay attention, that's when we create a reality in which we don't want. We're just on automatic, like I said before.
On cruise control.
We're on automatic cruise control. Yep. Jason and I says, take your relationships off of cruise control. But in reality, we have put our lives on cruise control. And then we wonder why we're at a place where we're really not experiencing the fullness of life. It's because we now have to take them off. We want you to be intentional in every single thought you think. So as of right now, any thought that comes into your mind, you have to ask yourself, is this a 90 to 95% thought that I've been thinking my entire life?
Right.
Or am I consciously creating a thought that is going to elevate me, that's going to make me feel good, that's going to make me look good, that's going to make me think good? If you want to create the life you want, first of all, let's say the life you want. Now let's thinking the thoughts in alignment with that type of lifestyle. We can't think the same 90 to 95% of the thoughts we've been thinking that we're going to create something different just because we said it. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. We are creatures of habits, our brains and mind, our body and our emotions. Everything must be in sync. Everything must be. You ever heard someone that said, man, things were going so well, I was just in sync. Like everything was
clicking.
Everything was clicking.
Yes.
When that means that everything in your body is in alignment and everything is moving forward. And if we're thinking the same thoughts, then guess what? We talk about what we don't want, but we spend 90 to 95% of the time thinking about the things we don't want.
And that's get more of what you don't want.
You're creating. That's what I want you to understand. You're creating the same tomorrow that you have today by thinking the same thoughts. And in order to rewrite what you want, in order to elevate, you have to now think new thoughts consistently. If you think that one good thought and then 6 years from now you come and think it again and you wonder why you haven't elevated, that's why. The thoughts that you think them 60 to 70 to 80,000 times a day. So now we have to disconnect that network of brain power, right? We have to disconnect the electricity in our brain that has created those connections to tell us this goes with this and creates this. Now we're going to have to disconnect them. We're going to have to rewire them. That's what we mean by change. And change is hard. Once we understand where we need to start, then it can be a little easier. But you're going to get some kickback. Please, from right now till we meet again next Friday, we want you guys to pay attention to the thoughts that you're thinking. And every single thought that comes into your mind, Ask yourself, is this an old thought that creates an old me, or is this a new thought that's creating a new me? And start thinking on the things that you want to create. See how the little things will change. If it's something like, Dennis, I know I know you said you had an episode a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know what triggered you or what happened, but let's start with small things. Let's start to think of things in a different way, right? Whether it's the communication with our mate, whether it's the communication with our boss or our supervisor or our neighbor. Let's try something small, consistently think a new thought, not any of the old ones, right? And put it to an emotion of how you want that outcome to feel and be. If you have an inharmonious relationship with someone and every time you see them, you think and feel the same way.
You get that feeling.
Right.
And you know what I'm talking about.
So now I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that experience, and I want you to rewrite the narrative. I want you to change it. I want you to say, this is what I want it to be. This is how I want to feel, and this is how I want the outcome to be. And start thinking thoughts in alignment with that, on that line, and see how it would change. Let's start small, because once you realize that you truly have the power to change your reality, then you will be more ecstatic to change it. So I got one more thing that we needed to cut, and I know I'm just talking about.
I know, but I just let me get some
Go
of these
ahead.
in here, right? Because they're coming in.
Let me write this down, okay?
So you don't forget. Thank you, Jason. And yes, us Johnites love to talk. Yes, you guys do. You're right. But Jason, I noticed that I have lately stepped back and said, Dennis,
stop talking and listen.
I like that. You gotta self-talk.
Words.
Yeah.
Dennis, I think we went, maybe Jones was for the place for people who did that, because I used to do the same thing. I actually do that sometimes in my mind. I'm like, Tina, just listen. Yep. Just listen. You don't have to
reply to everything. Yeah.
You don't always have to say something.
But I've said that to you for years,
Said what to me for years?
You don't always have to reply. I mean, just because someone says something in general, right? Just because someone says something, whether it's true or untrue,
this is true.
You do not have to reply to every single thing.
That was very good.
My mom
that you taught me.
Yes, my mom told me since it takes two fools to argue. So if you don't say anything, he's arguing with himself. So
Jason used to tell me that, because people would say things, right? And we experienced this, jealousy or whatever. People don't like to see you elevate. So things would come up in our relationship, not between he and I, but with someone else. Someone else would say something about us, or say something about Jason, or say something about our kids, or just say something in general that was just crazy, ballistic, like what? And someone would tell us, and then I would say, Jason, we have to say something. He was like, Tina, you don't always have to respond.
Nope.
But then how are people gonna know the truth? I'm like, wait a minute.
It's not my job to tell them the truth.
So if you are the person that you say you are, the truth will shine through. And I've learned that. So he is absolutely correct. He has told me 1,000 times, you don't always have to respond. And then when I'm talking to him, then I have to tell myself, Tina, you don't always have to respond. Just listen. So
I mean, I can get some wins in when you do that, right?
So we got some more. Yeah. Kelly said, I embrace change with the passion. Yes, I know myself to be a strong and very independent woman. Yes, it's time to reprogramming. Yes,
100%.
Absolutely. And Kelly, the thing about us women is that I have said it time and time again, and I had to learn it, that it's okay to be a strong woman, but we have to understand strength doesn't mean abrasiveness, right? It doesn't mean we can't be strong with our mate. Sometimes we're so used to being that strong, outspoken person that we don't know how to balance when to be a woman, when to step back and let a man be a man. And that's part of the issues in relationships as well. It's nothing wrong with being a strong woman. Being a strong woman is amazing, because we have to be strong, because the world sometimes can come up against us. We have to be that strong woman. It doesn't mean we have to be abrasive, right? And we have to be abrasive to our mate. We have to learn the balance of what it means.
All right, here we go. From Jason.
From Jason says, new experiences equal more awareness and insight into who you are and why you are the way you are. Always. Definitely.
Yes.
Always strive for environments that stimulate you in different ways. Absolutely, Jason. 100%. Absolutely. So that is Jason the second, our son. Absolutely. Definitely. And then that's the same thing with you. As you change your environments, the things that you find that you want to hang around and do and see, they're going to change, because now they no longer give you that same stimulation, because you have rewired the brain into wanting more, and the brain has to be stimulated by it. And those things that used to, they're no longer needed.
Nope.
Awareness comes from listening to others' perspective. I'm sure my son is definitely saying that for my
for your benefit.
Yes. Yes.
He's got another one for you.
Yes.
I think he's going to get them all out.
All right. Thinking intentionally is taxing and takes a certain level of discipline and self-accountability.
100%.
All right.
Yeah, that's what we said. You have to be ready for this.
Yes.
This is nothing easy. It is taxing. It is going in and really doing some work. When you in these conversations, like Dennis said, you have to step back and say, Dennis, you don't need to interact with that.
You don't have to respond.
This is
you don't have to be upset.
Why do I even need to get in that? Oh, it's funny how sometime I'm in conversations. Somebody's like, "Are you? Oh, didn't you get upset?" No, yeah, I didn't get upset. Did you agree with what he said? No, not at all. But that's over my head. It doesn't matter. You're not going to control my emotions. You can't control my feelings. You're not going to mess up my day just because you're on something else, right? You get out of bed, you're upset. Now you want to calm and you want to make everybody else's life like that. So no, you stay in control of your own feelings. Know who you are. Understand what your purpose is.
And when we change as a person, the things that bother us no longer bother. The things that used to bother us no longer bother us because we have a different understanding about it. We're operating from a higher level of awareness. So therefore, those things that are low vibration don't bother us because we're not even at that level. We're way up. That's why you've heard the conversation as we grow up. Don't come down to someone's level. Make them rise up to yours. Exactly. That's the exact point. Kelly says, "I know myself as being a strong and very independent woman. It's time to reprogram those unhealthy patterns." Absolutely. Or thoughts I have kept from childhood experiences, yes, that I unconsciously did not realize has been part of the relationship dysfunction.
100%.
Yes.
Yep.
And
that's those thoughts that you carry on, day after day, year after year.
But the key word is that you unconsciously.
All right.
You unconsciously realize them. You were programmed to think and react a certain way. And that's what I said. Most of the thoughts that we think, we've thought them since we were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old.
Right.
And now it's time to let them go. They've served their purpose. We realize that we can't elevate from this same awareness. We have to change, and change we have to embrace, and change is going to take some difficulty. But
hold on 1 second.
Y'all want to get all the things.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's mindset reset. Yes. Refocus.
Yep.
Yes. Restart and reset on an elevation level of mind and spirit.
Yep.
Woo, y'all, it's getting real up in here. It starts with me, and I am all in.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
It gets once we realize that we truly have the power, if you guys could just grasp that concept, most of the times we don't want to. So Dennis, I'm gonna go back to you.
Dennis got a little something here.
Okay. Before weeks ago, my mindset was I can handle anything my way or the highway. Today, I didn't see the change, but I do feel different. And I have changed my communication tone. Wow. Amen. All right. That means we're doing something right. If we just change one life, right? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. But what I wanted to say, hey, Gail. But this is what we have to understand. When we understand the mind, heart, the mind, body, has to be in sync. Yep. But we also have to understand most of the times. So, Dennis, I want you, even though you said you haven't seen it, I want you to be grateful for that change, no matter how small, because we have to show gratitude in order to elevate. Right. We have to be, most of the time, we are happy with what has happened in our life. Mm-hmm. And so then we try to get more of it. But the truth is that if you want to change, you have to be happy about what you want as if it's already happened so that it can start happening. So I hope that didn't go over you all's head. I hope you got that. So most of the time, we're happy when our spouse tell us that they love us. Right. We feel good.
We have to get the evidence first before we show the gratitude.
Yes.
That's what we know. But what
we're saying, show the gratitude
before and the evidence.
That's right. And the evidence will come. Be grateful for the little change. You don't have to see it. Just keep working it. Just keep thinking the same positive thoughts or the thoughts that are in alignment with what you want. Be grateful that this change is coming. Be happy, because if your heart is not feeling it, no matter what your mind is saying, it's not going to come. And if we can do nothing else, we're trying to close the gap as to why you have started elevation before, but it has never taken place. Right. Now we're closing the gap to help you understand if your mind, body, emotions are all in sync, your feelings are all in sync, the gratitude for this happening. You don't have to see it. to be grateful that it has happened. All right. So if I want to manifest something in my life, if I want to manifest a wonderful communicative relationship with my husband, I have to be grateful. I have to feel the gratitude that, thank you, Father, we have finally gotten to a place where we can both understand each other, where communication is good, where the love is good, and where we both understand each other. I have to feel that gratitude before it shows up, because the brain doesn't know. And if you keep thinking the same thoughts or you keep experiencing the same thing, change is only going to occur if we are grateful for what we want and continually think about the things we want and not the things we don't.
And whatever you're grateful for, the universe will go out and get it and bring it to you and bring you the experiences along with it. So it's nothing like being grateful for something and being very thankful for a thing that hasn't even appeared yet.
Absolutely.
Right? It hasn't even manifested, but I'm writing and speaking it into life like it has already happened. And when it shows up, I am more than grateful, even more so than before when I was trying to manifest it. So I'm telling you, and this is not something that we're just saying that it may work. This is exactly how we manifest things in our lives.
In our relationship.
We're grateful for the things that we're looking to manifest, and we're writing and we're appreciating it. So when it shows up, it's not surprised. It's supposed to show up at this point because I've already showed gratitude to the universe for it.
And I know it's coming. My heart and my mind are in sync. I had to tell our kids a couple of weeks ago that all three of them were manifested. All three of them were manifested through the feeling of gratitude, through a vision board, and for me thanking God that they were here.
Yep.
All three of them. And so my middle son normally jokes about he was an accident. And I said, there are no accidents in God. There are no accidents. I manifested 3 perfectly beautiful kids, and that's what I got. God gave me exactly what I expected, exactly what my heart felt, exactly my gratitude for it. And this is what we're trying to tell you. The thoughts that you think, the things that you want can manifest in your life when you believe they can be, and stand guard to your thoughts. Dennis, don't let anybody interrupt your thoughts. So when we start thinking on positive thoughts, those positive... Another thing we have to, and we're going to get out of here, I know. Another thing we have to realize is when you think a negative thought, every 16 to 17 seconds that you think that negative thought, another negative thought appears. So for every 16 to 17 seconds that you think a positive thought, another positive thought appears. And the more positive thoughts you think, the more you're now getting in alignment with what you want, and the more you are sending out to the universe to recreate the reality in which you have. And that's what we want you to understand.
So if you think that negative thought, you got some work to do. 16 seconds, you got some more negativity falling up behind that thought. So you need to stop it and write it. And that's what I'm saying, being in control of your mind and your thought and your feelings. All right, Dennis got this out here.
Like I said, we're standing guard to our thoughts this week. Yes, and Jason. Brother, I'm a brother who have held 53 years of don't show emotions. Yes. Thank you both for opening up my just everything. Yes. We talked about that too. And we're going to get into that, being able to...
It's one story that I want to kind of leave you guys with.
Hold it. Don't forget it. Hold it. But I just want to say this. We're going to get more... Don't listen to me because I don't want you to forget it.
Okay.
But we're going to definitely talk about... And those are some of the conditions in which have shaped our reality. The condition of don't show emotions. So therefore you get into a relationship and you don't show your significant other, your spouse, your lady, you don't show your emotions. You don't tell them how you really feel. You're not able to express yourself because you were told not to. These are all the things that all the things we learned, we're throwing out the window. We're rewriting them, we're relearning them so that we can elevate to what is truly, truly the best for our lives. All right.
If we look up there and we saw the definition of brain, and if it was up there, then you should be doing it. Right. You shouldn't be holding back your emotions because that's part of your brain function. So let's do that.
Is that what you wanted?
No, that's not what I wanted.
Go ahead.
But he sparked something else. I just want to talk. I want to talk about something. Tina and I, we were talking about experiencing and situations and thought, and we kind of equated this to visiting a hotel, right? So this is a new thought, right? So I'm trying to change my thought pattern, right? So this is what happens. We have a new experience. I go in, I check in. I don't know where anything is. They tell me, oh, you're on the 19th floor. I go to the elevator. I have to find the 19th floor. I push the button. I come up to the 19th floor. I get to the hallway. I have to go left or right. I'm looking for my room number.
You kind of skipping over the story. But So we're equating it to a thought. So when we say things must change, so you go on and tell it, but I was just saying you got it. When we say change, if you can predict what is going to happen, then you haven't changed. It's the same thought. If your thought predicts, if you know what's going to come out. Right. So when Jason says when we go to a hotel and they tell you to go to the 19th floor, we know we're going to the 19th floor, but we don't know what to expect when we get to the 19th floor. We don't know the layout.
I can't predict anything at this point, right? So I get there and I got to find a room. So they tell me I need to go. Now I have a choice. I can go left or I can go right. Now my room is on the right, so it's up to me. So I said, well, I'll go right because it's for my room. I go down, I get in the room, boom, I'm good, right? Now, 2 days later, I'm not paying attention. I'm on the phone. I hit the elevator. I hit the 19th floor. I come up. I'm not even looking at the sign. I make a right. I'm not even paying attention. I didn't count. I know how many doors it takes for me to get there. Boom, I'm in my room, right? I can predict how to get to my room from the front counter with no problems. And if you can do that in your life, then
with your thoughts. So the point is that when we're creating new thoughts, the very first time we're thinking a thought, it should feel unfamiliar to us.
Right.
We should have no idea. We should have no idea what this thought is going to produce. It should, but we are also creatures of habit. So by the second or third day, and this is your choice, whether you're thinking something positive or something negative. Right. This is why we think 90 to 95% of the same thoughts. By the second or third day, it has become a habit. We're taking the same elevator to the same floor, going to the same room. It's the same thing. If you're thinking the same thoughts and the same feelings and the same emotions, you're going to get to the exact same place every single day. But once you change, once you rewire it and it becomes unfamiliar, now it's time for you to make the new thought, the good thought, the positive thought, your new habit. And not go back to the old one. You should never be able, when you create a new thought in your mind, you should never be able to predict what the outcome is. Now, you know what you want. You know how you're going to feel about it, but you should never be exactly pinpoint when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, who's going to do it. You should never be able to do that. But so that's how you know it's a new thought, because new thoughts feel unfamiliar to us, because our brain has never experienced it before. So we want to make sure that we are rewiring the brain in the manner to think positive thoughts and creating the reality in which we want and letting go of that. Oh, we have to rewire. We have to disconnect those old networks. Do you have any more comments? We thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Yeah, we hope that you understand that this is the first process in manifesting your elevation. And it starts in the mind. The mind, the body is all one.
So go out and register. It is for February 25th, Saturday at 1 p.m. It's open to all that is willing to actually start anew.
Yes.
If you know someone, you can share legendaryrelationship.com/vision. They can sign up for it. And then if they want to start anew, they can take this journey with us.
Yes. So it is, and there's no age limit. So if you have someone younger, and I believe that the younger we can influence our youth, the better they become, because they are also being conditioned by the world. So they are being conditioned by what they see on the outside, not realizing that they are the creators of their own environment. They are the creators of their world, not the world creating them. So there is no age limits, but we do want to make sure that you're getting the understanding and the learning. So when we come together to create these vision boards, that we're creating them in the right mindset. And as Kelly said, we're resetting the reset button so that we can actually see the manifestation come alive. We're not just doing it to do it, right? That's stupid. That's just like, why? Mm-hmm. Why? That's just a waste of time. So we want to live life to the fullest. We want to be living, not just existing. And if we're going to create vision boards, then let's get it from a good foundation of the purpose, the intent, and making it work. The whole purpose is having the right tool to do the right job. If I'm trying to change a tire, I don't need plumber's tape. Okay.
Or a screwdriver.
Exactly. Well, you may need to know. And
so, if you need a screwdriver, you ain't changing the tire.
Right. So, and if I'm baking a cake, I don't need a screwdriver. So if you have the right tools for the right job and what you're trying to do, it makes you that much more successful. So we're trying to give you the right tools, the right function, and the right, as Jason say, foundation.
You know what? I hope you guys can see how this is going to be different than you've probably done in the past, right? This is about elevation. This vision board is about elevation. It's about manifesting some things that you've never really manifested. It's about changing who you are at the core. from the inside, from the mind's eye, understanding that all this change needs to take place before you can truly be who you were meant to be.
And when the change starts within you, your relationship with your mate, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your boss, your relationship with the world as a whole will all change, right? You have to understand we are all about marriage. We are all about relationships, but every relationship is important. And we understand that in order to make it work, it has to change. We have to change us. I can't expect Jason to change me, and I can't expect to change him.
Right.
The change is inevitable. If you do not change, you get more of the same thing that you've already experienced.
That's right, because you remember you're doing those 90% thoughts that you had today, and you'll probably think them tomorrow. So, I mean, I'm gonna let you have that, okay? That's gonna be my little parting thing.
So if you don't want more of the same thing, stop thinking the same thoughts and stop doing the same things, guys.
Stop carrying on those 90%.
Is there any other comments, baby? Did we get any more comments before we go? So don't forget, guys, if you want us, what about the like button? If you want us to recognize you, please put your name in there. Hey, Sharon, I love you. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
Kelly, hey, Regina. Also wonderful. Dorothy is in the house. Wait. Oh, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
And, yep. Lanice told me to put my glasses on, so I'm putting them on. Nicole, oh, wonderful. And Dennis, hey, guys, it's so wonderful to see you. Yeah. Wonderful. What about the likes? That was the love. Yep. Okay.
Regina.
All right, guys. And so my friend Lanice, I don't know if she's on or not. She called me. She said, Tina, I'm going to need you to get your glasses because most of the time you're squinting. And that is true. So I brought them today. These are my dollar store reading glasses. So thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. We definitely hope that this was beneficial to you because we know that these are the correct tools and techniques to elevate your relationship and your life. Yep. All right.
So one last thing before we get out of here.
If you don't remember anything else, what should they remember, Jay?
Your actions, excuse me, your actions, thoughts, and feelings matter.
Yes.
So don't take them lightly.
Yeah.
Your actions, thoughts, and feelings matter. So don't take them lightly. All right. So, and that's in everything you do, your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings.
So be aware of all of the thoughts and the feelings and the feelings that are attached to those actions. All right, guys? So it doesn't matter. Jason and I are going to get out of here. We'll see you next Friday. Don't forget to sign up for the Power of Visioning. We're going to make sure it's not something simple, but it's going to be an actual tool to help you guys elevate in your life. So anything else, baby?
I think that's it.
All right.
That's it. I think we got it all.
All right. So as always, we're in it to win it. Love you guys.